Hello and welcome to Create a Great Healthy Life. I'm Colleen Marie. Today we're going to make a mushroom barley soup. We're going to make it whole food plant-based, so we're not going to use oil, we're not going to use salt, and of course we're not going to use sugar. We are going to use, we're going to saute an onion first and some garlic, and then we're going to add in some tomato paste, and then we're going to add in mushrooms and our barley, and we're also going to use some nutritional yeast and some seasoning and some tamari or Bragg's amino acids. And then to make it really freaking delicious, we're going to add some fat through the use of these cashews and some plant milk. We're going to blend that up and add that as a cream at the end. So let's get cracking. First things first, I want to cut up my onion. So I'm not the world's most awesomest onion cutter, but I do okay. Oh, I still have a little bit of skin here I want to take off. Just a little bit. This produce came from a place where the produce is pretty darn good, so I don't have to take off tons of layers of the onion to get it to be to the good part. And chopping. I know you're supposed to keep your fingers in, and I try, but I don't think I'm the world's best at keeping my fingers in, and I don't think I make the best, smallest diced onions. So a lot of times what I do is this. At the end, I come through and just chop like this. The other trick with onions is to keep blowing out. And I'm able to not use my nose and breathe in through my mouth. And that also helps keep the fumes of the onion down. But when I blow out, I specifically blow out hard with an onion because it does keep the fumes a little bit further away from me. So I am going to use a whole onion in this recipe. I have learned that a lot of times if it's raw onion, a salad or something, and I'm going to use a raw onion, I really just need to use a half an onion because a little onion goes a long way, both in flavor and on my tummy. But the cooked onion I do okay with. So let's put these onions in a bowl. I like to use the knife and hand method. Oopsie. And then there's lots of ways to do the garlic. Whoa, this is good garlic. Holy moly. Usually it doesn't have that much resistance. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna go to plan B. Usually I do not use my garlic press, but today I am. So let's use the garlic press. And a lot of times I use the minced garlic, but I thought I'd be fancy for you today. So there's my minced garlic, crushed garlic. Here's piece number 2. Oof. And number 3. That's funny. I went to go smoosh it and it wasn't going to smoosh. And it is a good knife trick, but I don't want to be struggling with something and using a knife. That seems like not the best idea. And then the mushrooms. So what's fun about mushrooms is you don't got to be very careful. You can just be a chopper. So I don't really have a special way. Sometimes I just even kind of like just take the whole things and go like this and just keep chopping till it gets to a good point. And I don't do them one at a time. I just go crazy like this. Whoa! It's moderately satisfying. And I use the whole mushroom. I use the stem and everything. I don't cut off the stem, certainly not for mushroom barley soup. Is there a time when you cut off the stem and don't use the stem? Would you leave a note in the comment? So I'm feeling like this is a pretty good cut down. So these are the mushrooms. So there we go. So we have the mushrooms and the onion and the garlic, putting them in this big pot. So this is my stovetop pot, and we're going to start with the onions. So we're going to put this on some low heat, And almost every recipe starts with the onions, right? Bada bing, bada boom. I am not using oil. You don't need to use oil. The whole food plant-based way of eating, eschews oil, ooh, that's a fancy word, avoids oil as much as possible. And so we're just going to start with the onions, and then I'm going to be putting in the garlic and the tomato paste. So we'll let that get going. Okay, so I just added my mushrooms, and I added the Bragg's amino acids. You can use tamari, a low salt tamari, or you could use soy sauce for your salty flavor. I like Bragg's aminos a lot. So now that my mushrooms are nice and reduced, you can see that, I'm going to add the barley. I have rinsed this barley. This is pearled barley. So there's three kinds of barley. There's hulled, hullless, and pearled. Hulled is the most non-processed. It just takes out the outermost hull. Hullless takes out the hull. Those are considered non-processed. Pearled barley is considered processed. It takes off the whole hull. It does keep some of the fiber and germ, but not the way the hulled or hullless do. But the reality is most of the time in the grocery store or regular stores, all you can get is the pearled barley. So that's what I'm using because that's all I could get. And then I'm putting in my seasoning. So we've got paprika and garlic powder and onion powder, which is used in pretty much everything, and a little bit of pepper. Not bothering with salt. I'm adding some nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast is just yeast, so that's all I need to put in there is the barley and the seasoning. And then I'm also going to add some water, about 3 cups of water. Bloop. And I'm also going to add 3 cups of vegetable broth. So now this is going to come up to a boil. So let's get it hot, hotty hot. This is going to come up to a boil, and when it does, then I'm going to put it down to simmer. I'm going to put a lid on it, and I'm going to let it go for about 50, 60 minutes. Put a lid on it, like with a jar. It won't be totally covered. So now that it came to a boil, I brought it down to a simmer, and we're going to let it simmer for 40, 50 minutes until the barley is soft. So while this is simmering and the lid is on a jar, I'm going to go ahead and make the cashew cream. I've been soaking my cashews for about 15 minutes at least. My blender can really handle blending up cashews, but just to ensure they come out nice and creamy, it's also nice to soak them. But a really high-speed blender, you don't need to generally, but like I said, it's a good idea if you have the time. And then some plant milk. This is what I'm using for my plant milk. This is unsweetened soy milk, this brand, and literally the only ingredient is soy milk. So there's something to be said for that. So that's the plant milk that I'm using. Okay, here it is. By the way, all the sizes, all the measurements will be in the recipe down below, so you don't need to worry about the volume. That was a half a cup of plant milk though. Cup of cashews. Okay, so that's all ground up and creamy goodness. Let's see how that looks. Ooh, cashew cream. Oh, that, my friends, is what's gonna make this soup like super duper. So this has been simmering for about 40 minutes or so. So let's give it a taste test. I'm going to put just a little bit in my bowl here and then use my spoon. Give it a little taste. It definitely needs more time. The barley is not yet tender. It's delicious, but the barley needs more time. I would say 10, maybe even 20 more minutes. So let's keep simmering. Okay, let's taste this again. See where we're at with our tenderness of our barley. Get a little barley there. Boop. Take a little bite. Oop. I like that tenderness. I think it's good. I love the umami flavor of the mushrooms. Delicious. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add the cashew cream. Turn this off. Add the cashew cream. Give that a stir. Thickens that up. And we're also, I forgot to mention this in the ingredient list at the top of the video, but we're going to add 2 teaspoons of red wine vinegar. I think that was 2 teaspoons. And give that a stir. So the key with this recipe is to let this soup set for about 15 minutes, but I can't wait. So I want to try some now. So let's give it a little taste. It is like a warm hug in a bowl. It is delicious. Oh my goodness. It's true. That cashew cream is what sets it over the top. But that umami flavor of the mushrooms, so good. So good. If you enjoyed this, please go ahead and like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. This is Create a Great Healthy Life. I'm Colleen Marie. I love you. I'll see you next time.